All right, let's go now to the big story of the night. Let's go live to Rochester and Stroud, where the by-election count is now under place. Nick Robinson is there, which means it must be a really big story if Nick is up this late. Nick, good to see you. Now, this was meant to be the night, yeah, try and keep awake. This was meant to be the night when the story was the Tories got another thumping from UKIP. But actually, at the moment, the story is another cock-up from Labour. Tell us what's happening.
Quite extraordinary, isn't it? It's as if David Cameron was at the wheel of a car driving at 100 miles an hour into a brick wall, facing defeat in a by-election. He said he'd throw the kitchen sink at to win, and just at the moment of impact, someone from Ed Miliband's team throws themselves bodily in front of the car and splatters themselves. It is the most extraordinary self-inflicted wound that I have seen an opposition party inflict on themselves in many, many years. Tonight's story, as you say, Andrew, was really about two things, and it still does look like it will be about two things. An extraordinary victory for UKIP in a poll that they really didn't have a right to think they could win just a few weeks or months ago, and an extraordinary setback for David Cameron. And yet now we're at the centre of a furious row in the Labour Party about whether they have lost all touch with the working class people that they seek to represent and have always historically represented, because of one single photo on one single tweet delivered by not a very prominent member of the shadow cabinet, which didn't in fact say very much. That tweet, of course, a picture of a white van parked outside a house just down the road from here with 3 England flags paraded outside that house, and Emily Thornberry, for it is she, the former Shadow Attorney General, an MP, rather inconveniently as it happens, for Islington, that rather trendy bit of North London. It was she who suggested that that was somehow, this is Rochester. She was accused, therefore, of being a terrible snob, and having first apologised, having second gone through the humiliation of Labour's Ed Miliband's briefers telling us that he was more angry than he'd ever previously been with her, she finally fell on her sword and resigned.
But that's a fascinating story, and we're going to be doing more of that as the night goes on. But standing back and looking at things in the round, we look as if we're in for a night in which the Tories lose a seat that they held by almost 10,000 votes in the last election. Labour's going to come a poor third and has got this Emily Thornberry problem on its hands as well. And the Lib Dems could lose their deposit. It's another great night we're in for the Westminster parties.
It's a grim night, as you say, for Westminster parties. We've been talking, Andrew, you and I, haven't we, about how combined the big two used to get 98% of the vote. That's what they got after the Second World War. They are now struggling between them, the Labour and Tory vote, to even muster 60%. And the Lib Dems, the joke here, and it's not entirely a joke, there may be some evidence for this, may be behind a dominatrix, an independent who is running on this ballot paper, may actually be ahead of the Liberal Democrat candidate. A bit early to judge that, but on the basis of people sneaking a look at postal votes, that's what they claim may be possible, some of those with inside information. And it really is an extraordinarily miserable situation for all of the three parties here. And what I've been very struck by, just doing a random canvass opinion on the station platform here in Rochester, as people came in from the London commute, and there are lots of people who come into this Kent town from London each day, was the real breadth of support there was from UKIP. So yes, you have the rather sort of posh guy from the city saying we've got to get on with dealing with European immigration. You get the much more lowly paid black woman. I only mention her colour because it's often said of UKIP that they can't appeal beyond the angry white working class, saying that she thought it was worth giving people a try. And then you got a traditional Northern Labour figure saying to me he could no longer vote for Labour anymore. He felt that they'd ignored the issue of immigration and had to vote for UKIP. Now, that is a pretty impressive coalition that they have managed to assemble here, and will give them victory in this seat.